Well, the time is just gone, 10 minutes to 10 as we head towards closure this morning. Still to come, we've got our very own Salaamedia Journalist, Zahid Jadwat, making his way to Cape Town ahead of the SONA. And at around 10 o'clock, humanitarian and educator at Miftahul Falah, based in Syria, working with the refugee children, Masiha Saluji, will be sharing her perspective and the Syrian experience of the earthquake. But in Cape Town right now is Zahid Jadwat, and looking ahead at SONA and what are the expectations. Zahid, assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh to you out in Cape Town, and great having you with us this morning.
Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's great to be with you once again, Uncle Inayat. Greetings to you and the listeners from Cape Town. How are you this morning?
Yes, Alhamdulillah, doing well. Well, it's all systems go ahead of the SONA, and I'm sure the final touches have been put to the Cape Town City Hall, but also to the speech. And the nation is waiting with bated breath in terms of the President Cyril Ramaphosa and what he's going to address. And already there is a lot of speculation in terms of what he's going to say and what he's not going to say. And more importantly, is it just going to be empty rhetoric where the president is going to press the reset button, Zahid?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting that you mention, when you say that people are looking forward to this. I think people are really ambivalent towards this. This, if I'm not mistaken, is the seventh State of the Nation address to be delivered by President Cyril Ramaphosa. And I mean, a lot of much of his administration and his term in office has been overshadowed by the COVID-19 pandemic, and of course that has now been, placed behind us. At least we hope. And I think now the focus now shifts towards the load shedding and energy crisis that has been plaguing the country for more than a decade. This is something he has spoken of before. There was major talk of unbundling of ESCOM. That's one of the major things that have been repeated since 2019, yet there hasn't really been much progress on that. And this, of course, comes in the midst of, extreme load shedding. We've been having load shedding for every day so far this year. And I think South Africans are generally, quite fed up. They're not so excited about the State of the Nation address. And that's, of course, if you can even access or view this event as it takes place, if you've got the electricity to do so. And I was looking at some of the comments on Twitter, some of the conversations, and of course, Twitter is not a real representation of the world, or rather not an accurate representation, but it does give you a good feel of how people are feeling and how, they're looking towards this, what are their expectations. And I think a lot of people are just disillusioned, not really expecting much. But those that are, speaking about what they're expecting, are saying that they want accountability. They want the president to come there and, be honest to the nation and say, we haven't been able to deliver on all the mighty promises that we've made over the past year, and we are sorry for that. And I mean, some even going as far as to say, he should announce that his entire administration is going to resign. But of course, that's the chaos of Twitter. We can't really, rely on that too firmly. But, it does give us a glimpse into what the nation is thinking and what the nation is saying, of course, in the build-up to the State of the Nation address.
Well, Zaid, interesting you say that, he should be honest enough. And when one looks at the labels amongst many that have been attached to President Cyril Ramaphosa, one is that he has misled the nation. He has actually lied to the nation. And, having these labels attached to him, and for someone to come out in all honesty and to make certain admissions at a forum like the State of the Nation address, it's going to take a lot of bravery. It's going to take a lot of courage, but it's going to take someone who needs to be honest to himself first.
I think there's two things to be mindful of here, right? There's obviously, the accusations and, as you mentioned, the labels that are being hurled towards the president for his seeming inability to reverse the effects of state capture, to reverse the actual, the disaster that was created by state capture in the Zuma years. I think there's when we, for the ordinary South African public, we want to see action. But there's a lot of dynamics that play behind the scenes, uh, which, it doesn't take a single term to turn the country around. It doesn't take 5 years to reverse the damage that was done over 10 years. So I think there's that to be mindful of. But at the same time, I think the president needs to be, he needs to strike a balance, not overpromise, and also be honest about the past year. Not to say, he shouldn't come up there and say we've done a lot and we're going to do more and this is what we're going to do and have these bold ambitions. What he needs to be, he needs to be honest with the country and tell them this is, because it literally is the state of the nation address. He needs to tell the country this is where we are, this is the situation, these are the challenges that, the administration itself is facing, and this is what we're going to do about it. And he needs to be, he needs to not be overambitious. He needs to be serious about what he's saying, and he needs to be realistic instead of, offering these extensive promises and ambitions, which we know, realistically speaking, are not, very, there
Well, the
isn't
thing is,
any.
President Cyril Ramaphosa is known for his pie in the sky theories, and nothing has materialized. If I look at almost every aspect of last year's SONA in terms of what he's mentioned, nothing has materialized, and I'm sure he's going to be revisiting a lot what he said last year and making similar promises. And also at the same time, it comes at a difficult time where we know the SONA is takes place with a lot of pomp and ceremony and this jovial mood and people, MPs especially, putting on their best clothing. It becomes a major fashion statement here by many of the delegates that actually attend the State of the Nation address, and all of it coming at a time when the country is facing the worst crisis ever. So, you have on the one hand the pomp and the glory, and on the other hand, you've got the doom and the gloom and the dark clouds, the ominous clouds that are hanging over the country. And this is the reason why I've spoken earlier on to Herman Mashaba, I've spoken on to an economist, and they actually share the same sentiments as well. Talking about the biggest elephant in the room is the president himself, who is impotent, who is compromised himself with Pala Pala. I've heard the EFF talking about not allowing him to speak this evening. So that is something else that we need to also look out for in terms of the opposition parties and how they're going to be reacting to Cyril Ramaphosa. But I'm sure Zahid is going to be very, very interesting for you as well, covering the event later this evening. And I wish you well. And just final thoughts before we take leave of you.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to pick up, before I go, I want to pick up on the point you made about the pomp and ceremony that traditionally takes place before the State of the Nation address. Now, I think the address itself, this is the official opening of Parliament for the year. So I think it is a time for us as a country to celebrate, but at the same time, realistically speaking, we don't really have much to celebrate about. You mentioned politicians coming here and flaunting the elegant style when you've got people languishing in abject poverty. When you see this discrepancy, and then you realize that this is not the time to be celebrating. If we wish to be celebrating, then there should have been genuine gains that the president should have been able to report back on. But we do know how this is going to go. We have an idea how it might go. And we know that he doesn't have that good news to tell us. And I don't see the point in celebrating at the moment. I think, again, it comes back to the point of being realistic about the situation and where we are.
Well, Zaid, let's see what materializes tonight. But for now, We thank you for your time and enjoy that beautiful Cape Town. Enjoy the mother city.
All right, and I hope to bring the best content from Cape Town to our media listeners and viewers can look forward to, you know, keeping an eye on the proceedings as we bring it to you from City Hall and the Cape Town, the area around Cape Town. Of course, there's a few tickets that we're going to be covering today, and we're going to be speaking to a lot of people on the ground to get a feel of what ordinary South Africans feel about the State of the Nation address. And of course, all of that can be found as it happens on the various platforms of Salaamedia.
Well, definitely, Zahid. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Yes, as I mentioned, we will be with you every step of the way throughout the State of the Nation address this evening, and every word that Cyril Ramaphosa will be uttering when he delivers the address. Well, the time is just headed for 10, and I'm going to be leaving you with an exclusive report back. And this is the Syrian experience with Masiha Saluji. She is a humanitarian and an educator at the Miftahul Falah based in Syria. She works with refugee children. And we actually tried to chat with her live, but as a result of a weak network, this was not possible. But we posed a few questions to Masiha, and she has responded with a video. So I'm going to be leaving you with this video. But from myself and the team, until we meet tomorrow, inshallah, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.